Hey YouTube, MDX Music back again with another video on mapping Tonal Harmony Pro 7. Today what we'd like to talk to you guys about are just tips and tricks that are going to make your life a lot easier using the app just in day-to-day little things. This is really not going to address any music theory, just little things that will help you avoid some frustration or make your experience with the app a bit more efficient and more pleasing. So check it out. Tip 1. The Tools Hotspot. The Tools hotspot is in the top left-hand corner of the Tools icon. So when erasing chords, make sure you click on the chord or the note in this manner. You can click anywhere within this blue area. Aside from the pointer and the erase tool, all other tools affect bar lines. So make sure to click on the bar line to apply any of these tools. Some symbols belong to the left of the bar line and others to the right. The symbols to the right of the bar lines are start repeat, section letters, coda sign, senyo, and first ending. All other symbols are tied to the left of the bar line. Tip number 2. Don't bother entering second endings. The app does that automatically. Tip 3. You cannot edit the progressions that come with the app, but you can duplicate them and make changes to the copy. Tip number 4. Adding more measures to a progression. If you run out of measures, just delete the final bar line of your progression. Tip 5. Start repeats. Don't forget to add a start repeat at the beginning if that's what you want. The app needs a start and end repeat to make sense of the form. Tip 6. Export as MIDI. You can export the play-along accompaniment and the block chord accompaniment as a MIDI file. Use the file menu for that. Tip number 7. Form layouts. You can apply any form to an already written progression. Just remember that the progression will be truncated if the new form layout is shorter than the current one. Tip number 8. Edit mode on/off. Remember to enable the edit mode button if you want to make changes to a progression. Some tasks are not allowed while in edit mode, but the app will let you know. Tip number 9. You can open the audio mixer in the panels below the map. Remember, you can resize all of these panels. The content of the audio mixer panel will not resize with the panel, so adjust the panel accordingly to view the entire audio mixer if you need to do so. Tip number 10. Play along and voicings rules. When using the play along, the piano comping is created using the voicings rules you have set up in the voicings preferences or the audio mixer, except for the styles starting with an X. They use a different play along algorithm. The comping will change significantly depending on your voicing settings. Enable the randomized voice leading for songs that have chords that last a measure or more. With the randomized voice leading disabled, the app tries to create the best voice leading possible, and the voicings will not change while the chord stays fixed because the chord is not changing. Also, try enabling and disabling the favor spread voicings to see how it affects the piano comping. With the favor spread voicings option disabled, the comping will contain more voicings in closed positions. With the option enabled, the app will try to use more range, spreading the notes apart. In this case, the highest note allowed will come into play more often. Remember that all of these adjustments allow you to tweak the accompaniment depending on your taste and style of the song. Tip number 11. Real-time versus processed adjustments. In the audio mixer, some of the settings respond in real time and others are used to create the play-along MIDI file. You may adjust the levels of the instruments in real time while listening to the play-along, but adjusting the MIDI volume compressor or the voices levels will only affect the performance when you restart the play-along. Tip 12. Play-along variations. Check the pop-up buttons on the drums, piano, and bass to see if there are variations available for that instrument on a certain style. Tip 13. Progressions cards. The thin line below the title indicates the map level for the progressions. Cards with a long line indicate a higher map level and therefore a more complex usage of harmony. Blue lines are for progressions in a minor key and yellow lines for major keys. Tip number 14, searching in the catalog. The search box has a little drop-down menu where you can define the parameters of your search. Tip number 15, catalog. The catalog stays in sync, but if you think there's a discrepancy due to a computer crash or a power outage, you can always use the rebuild catalog to resync it. Tip number 16, map only. You can just view the map without any panels. Use an empty progression if you want to see a clean map without any circles or arrows indicating the current progression. Tip 17, map menu. You can hide or show the map menu with this button, and you can change the map level with this button when the menu is hidden. Tip 18, the jazz button. Remember to always check the jazz button to see if you're playing chords with tensions or not. Tip 19, Enharmonic spellings. You can check the double flat button to respell odd enharmonic spellings, making it easier to read. But also remember, in doing so, some chords might not be spelled following theoretical rules of tonal harmony. Disabling double flats will cause the history staff to include courtesy accidentals, ignoring the key signature. Tip number 20, major and minor keys. Always check if you are writing a song in major or minor. Use the house button to toggle between these two landscapes. It is important when analyzing harmonic progressions that you establish if the one is major or minor. Tip number 21, new progressions online. Remember to check for new progression books online. They're free and we will always be uploading them as we have new books ready for you. Tip number 22, the M button on the map. If you see a yellow M button appear on the map, the app is telling you that you're in the process of creating a modulation. If it was intended, make sure to finish entering the modulation. Otherwise, you can click on the M button to cancel the modulation process.